I was in my second year of college, and I was broke. I signed up for DoorDash to make some extra cash after school. It was decent. A couple of months later, I quit my grocery job and was dashing full-time. This night was different. It was a holiday weekend. I was working extra late, trying to catch all the surge pay. I'd been driving since 8 p.m., mostly just running orders back and forth from a 24/7 McDonald's. It was a little past 2 a.m. when I picked up another McDonald's order. A 40-piece McNugget, 2 large fries, a late-night feast. I checked the delivery address. It wasn't a house. It was some sort of warehouse in the industrial park. And there was a note in the app. Go in through the side doors and drop it off at the front desk. I thought it was weird. A warehouse at 2 a.m. on a holiday weekend? But a night shift is a night shift. The money was good. So I drove. When I got there, I pulled into this huge empty parking lot. It was vast, just acres of empty asphalt, with a few semi-trucks parked way off in the darkness. The building itself was just a giant featureless rectangle, a few high windows, all dark. A single door at the front. The place looked dead, closed. I checked my phone again. Go in through the side door. I felt that prickle, that this is stupid feeling. But I was here. I figured maybe they load trucks all night. I drove my car around to the side of the building. There it was, a heavy metal door painted gray. It had one of those tiny square windows in it, reinforced with wire mesh. I parked, leaving my headlights on, pointing at the door. I got out, holding the bag of food. I looked through that tiny window. I couldn't see anything. Just a small, dark entrance room. The glare from my car's headlights made the glass reflective. It was like looking into a black mirror. I tried the handle. It was unlocked. I swung the heavy door open. The sound echoed in the night. I was immediately taken back. The smell hit me first. It wasn't a building smell. It was just cold. The smell of dust and old, cold metal. It was just as dark as it seemed through the window. There was only a tiny flickering wall light in the far corner. One of those dim orange safety lights that was barely doing its job. There was no front desk, just an empty concrete room. In front of me was a corner. "Hello?" I called out, my voice. It sounded small, no answer. I walked around the corner and I stopped. In front of me was a hallway, a long, unlit corridor. I couldn't even see the end of it. It just disappeared into complete, total darkness. I knew that most places with night shift workers don't keep on unnecessary lights, but this was excessive. If I were to walk down there, I would be walking into a black void. I took my phone out. I checked the app. For the third time, did I go to the wrong place? Was this the wrong door? No, everything seemed right. But there was no way I was going to walk through that hallway. And the more I thought about it, the more I listened. The more I realized how quiet the whole building was. No machinery moving, no generators humming, no people talking, not, sound. This was wrong. This was all wrong. I decided to call the customer. I backed up into the small lit room. I clicked on their name. I held the phone to my ear, and just a moment later, I heard it. A phone ring, faint and tinny. It was coming from the other end of the dark hallway. My blood turned to ice. After another few seconds, it rang again, but this time, it was closer and louder. Someone was walking down the hallway. Towards me, I stared into that empty black corridor. and I could barely make out the faint blue glow of someone's phone screen. It was bobbing up and down. They were walking. "Hey," I yelled, my voice cracking. "I got an order here from DoorDash. I'm just going to leave it right here for you." I set the bag down on the floor right in front of me. The figure of a man, a large man, started to come out of the dark. But he didn't say anything. I waited another second. He just kept coming. As he got closer, it just felt so unnerving. The way he was walking, it was too fast. He wasn't in a uniform. He was just a big guy in dark clothes, and he wasn't speaking. I had this horrible, primal feeling like someone was about to jump out from behind me. I was freaked out. I just turned. I ran. I pushed the heavy door open and ran back to my car, fumbling with my keys. A few moments later, as I was pulling away, I saw it. Movement from behind the small glass window on the door. A dark shape, just watching me leave. That whole thing, it gave me chills. I called it a night. I went straight home. In the end, I chose to believe it was just a weird situation. Nothing really happened, so I blew it off. A couple of days went by. On Monday evening, while I was driving again, I got a strange call. It was the police department. What happened next was complicated. Basically, they questioned me about why I was at that specific warehouse at 2:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Apparently, they had security footage of my car pulling up. After explaining I was just a DoorDash driver and proving it with the delivery receipt, they told me what was really going on. They said that the real workers came back from their holiday weekend, where the warehouse was not in operation, and they found a DoorDash delivery sitting in the middle of the hallway. Whoever was in there had broken in. They had ordered the food with a fake account, which is all scary in its own right. But the creepiest part, the part that still gets me, is that they didn't even take the bag of food. It was just sitting there. The cops said it was pretty obvious. They were looking for something else. I don't know what they wanted from me, but I can only assume that if I had stayed and waited for that man to come all the way out of the dark, something terrible would have happened. The bag of nuggets, it wasn't the delivery. The man's name was Ray. He was a truck driver for a moving company on the East Coast. His job was simple: drive, take a 30-hour trip cross-country with 2 or 3 short rest stops. He'd been working this job for 4 years. He'd seen just about everything. This job was like any other. He picked up the trailer in Boston, full of some rich family's entire life, and started the 30-hour drive west. The hardest part was always the Midwest. Iowa, Nebraska. There's nothing out there, just dead flat roads with endless dark fields of grass on either side. It's the kind of boring that makes you tired. The kind of emptiness that feels hypnotic. Ray had just passed the Iowa border into Nebraska. The sun had set. He'd been on the road for 20 hours. His eyes were heavy. That highway hypnosis was starting to come in. He was just a zombie staring at the white lines. A few more miles down, he saw it. Something on the side of the road. A car stopped off to the side of his lane with its headlights on. This was a narrow 2-lane road. Ray slowed the heavy rig, carefully passing it. As he did, he noticed the exhaust was steaming. The car was still running. There was a man leaning against the driver's door, looking right at him. Ray passed by, and gave a courtesy nod. The man didn't nod back. He just watched. As Ray got further down the road, he checked his mirrors. He saw the man get back into his car. A cold prickle ran down Ray's spine. That's weird. He didn't look like he was in trouble. He looked like he was waiting. Ray's eyes were a bit more awake now. His brain was trying to figure that out. It felt wrong. About a mile or so down the road, he saw another car. This one was sideways, in the middle of his lane, blocking the road. As he got closer, he saw another vehicle on the side, a large white box van. He wasn't sure what the situation was, an accident, but seeing that, it gave him a bad feeling. His foot eased onto the air brakes. The truck hissed as he slowed down. He was forced to come to a full stop. He was maybe 20 yards away, and he could see them, multiple men, standing along the side of the road, and one man standing in front of the car. Ray would have to be the dumbest person in the world to not understand what this was. This wasn't an accident. This was a trap, with no other options. Ray slammed the truck into reverse. He started moving backward. The men in front, they stayed where they were. They had this horrifying confidence. Then a light shined behind him. A car approached from his rear, blocking the way back. A man got out of that car, sprinting at the back of his trailer. It was the first car, the waiting car. At the same time, all the men in the front, they started sprinting at him. In that instant, Ray's mind went blank. All his adrenaline took over. He slammed the truck back into drive. He heard a pop on the back of the trailer. One of them had broken the lock. The trailer doors swung open. The men in front yelled, trying to stand in his way. But when they saw the 18-wheeler wasn't stopping, they jumped. They dove off the side of the road. Ray rammed right into the car. The crunch of metal was deafening. He knocked it off the road like it was a toy. It was completely destroyed. A few gunshots sounded in the distance. Pop, pop, pop. But none hit. Ray just floored it. He could hear cargo, that rich family's life, falling out of the open trailer, mile after mile. He didn't stop until he had a signal. He called the police. It was a total mess. But as it all unfolded, it turned out to be much more than just a random attack. When the police arrived at the scene, the car he'd slammed into was still there. It was totaled. With it, they tracked down one of the attackers. Who gave up the others? They had information. They knew about the rich homeowners that were moving. They knew Ray's route. They planned to stop him, rob the truck, and load everything into their own box van. The police report never said what exactly they would have done to Ray after they robbed the truck. But Ray knew. It would have been a lot easier for them to not leave any loose ends. You drive for Postmates, 3, maybe 4 days a week. It's your relaxing side job, your easy money. You never take it too seriously, you go about it. If you don't make a lot one night, it's no big deal. This day you start right after your other job, around 8 p.m. By 10 p.m., you've actually made a decent amount of cash. More than most nights. You're doing well. You think, why call it quits now? You decide to keep going. You accept the next order. It's a medium-sized order from Wendy's, a regular tip, nothing uncommon. You drive through, pick it up. The bag is warm on your passenger seat. You click Start Route on your phone. Except it isn't to a house. It's just a GPS location, a pin dropped near a grocery store 15 minutes away. You've had deliveries to workplaces before, but this is odd. They didn't put the store as the address. They used an exact location. Anyway, you start the drive. You get to the parking lot, the grocery store is closed, the lights are off, the parking lot is empty. You pull right up to the front and park. You get out with the food, you look around. There's nobody, just silence and rows of dark, empty parking spaces. You text the customer, "Hey, I'm at the store." The reply is right away. "We're around the building in the back. You should see us when you round the corner." You are skeptical, but you get back in your car. You drive around the store. The back is even darker. There doesn't seem to be anything there. Just a couple of parked cars, way in the far back, by one of the other closed stores. You stop, you look, still you don't see anyone. This is when you start to get really uneasy. That feeling in your gut. You're thinking, this is not worth it. You put the car back in drive, and then your phone starts buzzing. An incoming call. You answer it. "Hey," a man's voice. "We're coming up right now. Be there in just a minute." He hangs up right after. No time to ask questions. You look around again. You feel even more uncomfortable. Something just isn't sitting right with you. You make a short U-turn. You start to go back the way you came. Until someone runs in front of your car, holding their hands out in a stop motion. You slam on the brakes. The car lurches. They come up to your window. "Hey, you have my order?" It's just a guy. He looks normal. You grab the bag, you roll down the window, you hand it to him, but he doesn't take it. You feel dumb, just holding the bag out the window while he just looks at you. And then you hear it. A quiet footstep from the other side of the car. Click. The sound of a car door handle. Before you can even turn your head, your back door swings open. You don't think, you just react. You drop the bag out the window, you floor it. The guy at your window screams at you to stop. The tires spin on the pavement. And then you realize someone is in your car. A hand reaches forward from the back seat. It's grabbing for your gear shift, trying to jam the car into park. You scream, you swerve, the hand fails, misses the gear shift. And the second man, he just jumps. He jumps out of your moving car onto the pavement. You see him in your rearview mirror. You see him get up. You see both of them running away as you turn the corner and get out of there. The police, they were of no help. They said they would do what they could. They never gave you an update. You were stupid. You fell for their trap, but you don't think you were the only one. You do some research. Just 2 weeks before your incident, a delivery driver went missing during an active delivery in a nearby town. There were no leads. The driver's car was never found. You think this might have been those same two men, and they were planning to do something terrible, something you can't even begin to imagine. I did deliveries for my parents' restaurant when I was in high school. The moment I turned 16 and got my license, they decided to start offering delivery. I didn't want to be a waiter, so driving sounded like a good option. I'd been doing it for a few months, so I was pretty comfortable with it. It was a Thursday around 8 p.m. when my dad handed me an order to deliver. I got in my mom's SUV, which I was using for the night, and started the drive. Google Maps said the house was 25 minutes away. Our town was small, so 25 minutes away was basically the middle of nowhere. As I drove, I started to recognize the area. It was the edge of town, and I still had 10 minutes to go. I'd never been this far out in this direction before. I was paying attention. I wasn't scared exactly, but I felt uncomfortable. The only houses I was passing now were farmhouses, set hundreds of yards back from the main road. Just dark fields and long driveways. When the directions told me to turn, it was down a long, unpaved gravel path. It was going straight to one of these dark farmhouses. Now I was starting to get a little freaked out. A remote farmhouse this late at night was the last place I wanted to be. But I told myself I was just spooking myself. It was just a simple delivery. I drove down to the end of the path. It just ended. It became a small grass field in front of the house. It wasn't clear whether I should drive on the grass or not. So I parked the car there. I got out. The night was eerily quiet. All I could hear were my own footsteps on the damp grass as I walked up to the house. The porch light was on, but no other lights were on inside. I was looking over my shoulder constantly. The longer I was out there, the more uncomfortable I was. I felt watched. Just before I reached the porch, I heard something. It sounded like it was coming from the backyard. A loud creak, like an old wooden door opening a barn door. I stepped onto the porch. I didn't knock. I just dropped the bag on the doorstep, rang the doorbell, and started rushing back to the car. I was instantly regretting how far I'd parked. I wished I'd just driven on the grass right up to the house. I was listening to the sound of my own footsteps in the quiet, when I started to hear more footsteps, running. They were running behind me in my direction. I spun around and I saw them. 3 men sprinting at me through the tall grass. They were coming from the side of the house, from where I'd heard the barn door. I tried to run. I tried to scream, but I didn't even make it 2 steps. In seconds, I was tackled. One of them hit me from the side hard. I went down. The breath was knocked out of me. One of them, he smelled like gasoline and cheap beer. He held me down, his knee in my back. Another one started taking everything from my pockets, my wallet, my phone, my keys. I was yelling, screaming for help, but I knew nobody could hear me. It all happened so fast. Once they had my pockets empty, one of the men, he kicked me hard in the stomach. I just curled up. They all ran to my car. They got in, turned it around, and drove away. I got up and just watched. I watched my mom's SUV, the headlights disappearing down that long, empty road. I had no phone, no car, no way to get back. I didn't know what else to do. I just started walking. I walked toward the main road. I think I was walking for 30 or 40 minutes before a patrol car pulled up in front of me. My parents had called them. They'd called the restaurant wondering where I was. When I didn't answer my phone, they called the police to check on me. To sum it up, the cops found a small barn behind that farmhouse. Inside, they found another restaurant delivery bag from a different restaurant. It was cold. They think they tried to do the same thing to someone else before me, but maybe they missed their chance or chickened out. There were no other reports. The actual owners of the farmhouse, they were out of town. The house was supposed to be empty. My phone was tracked and found in a field, thrown from the car. The SUV, though, it took 3 weeks to find. It was located nearly 400 miles away. It had been almost entirely emptied. This was almost a year ago now, and those 3 men, they still haven't been identified. I was in college, driving for Pizza Hut. It was a decent gig. Most nights were just boring. Just me, my music, and the road. This was a Saturday night. It was dead. We were getting ready to close up, and we'd had no orders for almost an hour. It was 10:50 p.m. 10 minutes before we stopped taking deliveries. The phone started ringing. I picked it up. Hello, this is Pizza Hut. I waited. For a second, all I could hear was light, shallow breathing on the other end. Hello, I said again. Finally, a woman started speaking. Her voice was wrong. It was quiet, just a whisper, and it was shaking. She asked for a small pepperoni pizza and gave me the address. There was just something so off about her tone. It wasn't a prank call. Prank callers are loud, they laugh. This was something else. Something in me made me ask, "Ma'am, are you okay?" There was a long pause. I heard a muffled noise like the phone was being covered. Then she just said, "I'm just fine," and hung up. I sent the order through. My coworker joked, "Rough call?" I just nodded. I couldn't shake the feeling. 15 minutes later, I was on the road. The house was only a few blocks away. It was a dark, quiet neighborhood. As I pulled up, I saw a heavy light coming from the house. The front door was wide open. Light was just spilling out onto the porch, cutting a bright yellow square into the dark lawn. I grabbed the pizza bag. It suddenly felt very heavy. Before I even reached the door, I heard footsteps, rushing, pounding down some stairs inside. A man came into the doorway. He was huge, tall, heavy-set, bald, and he was completely out of breath. He was taking these massive, exhausted breaths, and sweat was just dripping from his head. He was just wearing a stained white undershirt. I could smell the sweat from the porch. It was a sharp, coppery smell, but the weirdest part? He looked angry. He looked frustrated. Like I was the last person he wanted to see. I've never seen someone that unhappy. That their pizza arrived. My skin prickled. I stopped at the bottom of the steps. The total is 15.45, I stammered. He just stared at me. His eyes were wide, bloodshot. I thought back to the woman on the phone. This was not adding up. The order was for, a woman? I asked. His face tightened. "Hold on," he said, his voice a low growl. "I need my wallet." He turned and walked down the hall toward what I assumed was the kitchen. I was left standing on the porch, looking into an open doorway. I could hear the man rummaging around. And then I heard it. A quiet sound, coming from upstairs. It was a thump, a dull, heavy thump, like someone was hitting the wall with their fist, or like something heavy had been dropped. I heard it again. Thump, louder this time. Seconds later, the man came rushing back down the hallway. He didn't have a wallet. He grabbed the pizza box from my hands, his grip so tight he crushed the corner. He threw a $20 bill at me, not at me but past me, onto the porch floor. "Keep it," he snarled. Then he slammed the door in my face. The deadbolt clicked. I just stood there in shock. I could hear his footsteps. Thump, 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 running back upstairs. I couldn't hear much else. I bent down, picked up the cash, and walked back to my car, my heart pounding. Once I got out of their driveway, I drove a minute down the road and pulled over. I decided it was best to call the police. I gave them all the information I had. I told them about the woman's voice, the man, the sound upstairs. I asked them to just do a checkup. When I got back to Pizza Hut, I told my friends. The rest of my shift went by fast. I got home around 12:15. Not long after, my phone rang. It was an officer. He'd done the wellness check on the house, only he said, "Sir, we checked the house. There's no woman there." I said, "What? She must be hiding. I heard her call." The officer paused. He said, "No, sir. We spoke to the man you described. He was allowed inside the home. He lives alone. He has no idea what woman you're talking about." I know what I heard. Someone else was in that house. And the fact that the man was lying about something I was 100% sure about, it made my blood run cold. The cops told me that there wasn't much else to be done unless something else came up. It's been a long time since this all happened, but I still think back to it. That thump, that desperate, quiet voice on the phone, and the fact that when the police arrived, she was already gone.